So in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about how to take money from people. And when I say how to take money from people, I obviously mean a legal transaction. Either you're making a sale or you're asking for financing. At some juncture, you would be sitting across the table with somebody and you would be asking for money, requesting for it, and engaging in a legal transaction where you receive capital or money in exchange for products or services or shares in your company or just a lending where they receive interest. But there, at some point, you would sit across the table with somebody and you would be asking for money. So that's why the title, How to Take Money from People, because there is a specific way that you have to do this. So if you don't know who I am, just a quick background. My name is Prithvi Chauhan. I'm the founder of a healthcare investment company which is based in UAE. And over the last couple of years, I've been in negotiations with several multi-million dollar companies, including a $3 billion, $25 million, $120 million, $140 million company. And the 120 and $140 million company belonged to a $10 billion publicly listed company. It's one of the largest healthcare groups, and I've negotiated with them. It's extremely difficult to even get a meeting with these people. And not only that, I've negotiated with some of the top bankers in UAE, negotiated, talked to, presented in front of some of the most top bankers in UAE, including a banker who I just saw it was involved in a financing of $680 million. And did I know that this guy had worked on that kind of a deal? No. When I was on the call with him, I just did the presentation, presented the project, and afterwards, when I Googled him, I found out that he was a huge hitter. And in addition to this, I've met over a couple of hundred healthcare businesses, met and spoke to a couple of hundred healthcare businesses, and most of them were in multi-million dollar range. And I was talking to, in most cases, the owners of these businesses. In addition to that, I've trained some guys. One of them was in Mexico, who brought together some of the most high-profile individuals, executives in Mexico, to be his business partner. And he ended up structuring a business partnership with these high-profile executives on my guidance. Not only that, I have brought together some high-profile individuals. I've structured a business partnership with a $3.5 billion publicly listed company ex-CEO. Okay, he's a big guy. And just when he was about to retire, or he'd just gotten retired, I structured a business partner with him. Okay, he was dealing with the heads of states in UAE. Not only that, I've structured another business partnership with a lawyer from one of the top law firms who had worked on a $13 billion bank merger. So two banks, very large banks, were merging together in UAE, and he was the one who was the lawyer appointed to merge these two companies. So that's a $13 billion deal, and he happens to be my business partner and mentor. I've learned a lot of things from him. In addition to this, I've structured a business partnership with a CFO of a $400 million energy conglomerate. It's an energy company that has multiple subsidiaries around the world. It's in oil and gas, and this guy was the CFO and a shareholder in this energy company who ultimately became my business partner. I've got several other guys, but I'm not going to bore you with the details in this video. I've got two other clients right now that are in the field, and they're about to complete their boards, and they have brought together also guys who have done billion-dollar deals. And one of the guys, he just got an interest from a top lawyer, partner-level lawyer in one of the largest firms in USA. This firm has $7 billion in revenue. And one of my clients, my mentees, he's in his early 20s. Okay. And he's got the interest of a top lawyer, and he's checking for conflicts. He's going to come back to him with an answer. And this guy, the same guy, has also brought a very high-profile senior executive in Coca-Cola to be part of his board. They still have to sign the papers, but the Coca-Cola guy has said yes, and the other one is checking for conflicts. And this happened after 3 sessions with me. 3 sessions. Okay. And the other guy, who is also in his early 20s, is about to complete his board. He has an ex-USA general who served in various NATO operations on his board. Okay. And again, they still have to sign the papers, but they have said yes to be partners up with them. Okay. So those are my mentees, my clients. If you're interested to be mentored by me, I don't do this with everybody because it's not going to work for everybody. You have to make the sacrifices, you have to take action, and you have to be in the position to do this. If you're interested, reach out to me and we will talk about this opportunity. And if I see you're serious, if I see you are in a position to execute, we'll move forward. Otherwise, we won't. Okay, so reach out, click the link below at any time in one of my on any of my social medias, email or any of the social media profiles, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about how to ask for money, how to take money. There are 3 components to this, okay? Number 1, and this applies for $1,000 deal, $10,000 deal, $100,000 deal, $1 million deal, 10 million, 50 million, 100 million. There are these 3 elements that are necessary for you to even engage in a transaction. Number 1 is authority. Okay, authority. You have to have some kind of an authority to be in the room. If you don't have the authority, you're not even going to be able to be on some of these tables. So whatever transaction that you're dealing with, you have to have authority. How do you have authority? There are several layers which creates authority. One of the ways is you wear a 3B suit. That's one form of authority. That's just, the basics. And then the second part of it is that you have to be associated with people who have authority. All the high performance individuals, extremely successful individuals, they associate with other people selectively. They don't associate with everybody. Their association is reserved, and they will assess whether you have power or not, whether you have got authority or not. And if you do have authority, they'll associate with you. They'll attach their name with you. And that's the kind of standard that you have to have in your business transactions as well. That who are you associating with? Who are your business partners? Who are the people that you hang around with? Those have to be people who are high-powered individuals. And one of the first steps of the acquisition model, when you buy businesses, before you buy businesses, and if you're starting out, you don't have any credibility, authority, you have to partner up with people who do have credibility and authority. Just like the guys that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you have to associate with those people, and they're out there, they're doing business, they're out there available to have a conversation if you have a compelling project. So I highly recommend first to have a project idea, and second, to being able to present this idea and create this association. Once you are associated with these big names, you've got authority. So that's one piece. Any industry that you want to get into, find out who's the authority figure in that industry, either locally or internationally. It depends on the scale of the project. And then based on that, you align yourself. You give them some incentive in what you're doing, and you partner up with them, and their authority is going to rub off on you, and you can ride off on their credibility, and that's how you get started. So that's one. Second component is you need to have leverage. Leverage is composed of something that the person that you are talking to, from whom you want the money, you have to have something that they value. Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. I met one of the guys who had raised $1 billion. I was in a negotiation with him. He had done 64 acquisitions. He was the founder of an investment company that did 64 acquisitions, and in his career, he had raised about $1 billion. So this guy, I asked him, how much do you want for the company? And he said, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, meaning I would give the first offer. He was just teasing me a little bit. So whatever you're offering, the other person has to value it, or you have to have something that the other person values. If you have that, then you've got leverage on that person. Okay, so that's the thing. Authority and leverage, something the other person value. And it has to be in proportion to the kind of money that you want. So the more money that you want, the bigger the leverage has to be for you to attract that capital. Leverage and authority attracts capital. Okay, so I'll give you a couple of examples. So you may say, how can I, ask for $25 million? Well, there has to be a basis for you to ask that kind of money. There has to be something that you are selling. There has to be something that the leverage has to be significant. So what are the items that are of that size? Maybe a yacht, a jet, a house, real estate, a business, which is what we deal in, the business, and a small business, small to medium-sized business is going to be worth around $25 million. So that's these are the items that are typically worth $25 million. So if you are engaging in single transaction, you're asking for $25 million. You have to have at least one of these things to be able to exchange that in exchange for money. So you have to deal in large commodities if you want. It depends on how much money you want, and then the leverage has to be of that size, significantly more. And the thing has to have more value than the money that you're asking for. For example, when you go to a bank looking to borrow money, if you have something that's worth $1 million, the bank's going to give you 500,000 or 600,000. The bank always wants more value in exchange for little cash. Okay? They want more value in exchange for little cash. People in general want more value in exchange for little cash. We all love discounts. We all love that extra, extra benefit with the deal, right? So banks are no different and individuals are no different. So whether it's a bank or an individual you're asking money for, you have to give a little bit of extra thing on the table for you to attract that capital, and you have additional leverage because of that. Okay. So identify how much money do you want, and then you need to arrange for the leverage. So for example, in mergers and acquisitions, when we are looking for financing, when we want to attract that kind of capital, you don't go asking for money. You go and ask for information from a bank as to what criteria do they lend on. You get the information, and then you find the leverage piece. You go find a business. You find a $25 million business that wants to sell for $20 million. And when you go to a bank, you ask for $15 million. You put a business that's worth $25 million as collateral, and you ask for $15 million. That's a big enough leverage in exchange for capital. I'm oversimplifying the financial transaction, all of you financial experts who are listening, but I'm just giving an example that the leverage has to be big enough for you to attract capital. And when you have a leverage that's big enough, if the deal is good enough, money, it's easy to receive because people will see this is a good deal and they're going to jump on the opportunity. The third component is exposure. Exposure. If you have authority and if you have leverage, but you don't make enough phone calls, or if you don't do enough presentations, face to face or on a stage, wherever it happens to be, these kind of negotiations that I'm talking about happens face to face. There is no stage there. But third is exposure. How are you going to get exposure? Money comes from people, so you will have to expose yourself to people or financial institutions. And even financial institutions are managed by people. So you have to expose yourself to sources of financing. So if you want, let's say, $10,000 or $20,000, you have to talk to someone who has that money. If you talk to people who don't have that money, you're not going to get it. If you're looking for $25 million, $50 million, those kind of big tickets, well, those types of money, typically are with institutions. That's why one of the steps in the acquisitions model that I teach is that you talk to financial institutions, you talk to banks, because money, the big money is with institutions, right? So you want to expose yourself to these sources of capital with authority and leverage. So the third component is exposure. If you don't do enough presentations, you're not going to get money. Whether it's a sale that you want to make, could be $5,000, $10,000, or in case of acquisitions, if you're looking for financing, you got to talk to a lot of people. You got to expose yourself to a lot of sources. You got to build a lot of connections in that world, and then you have the three components together. So to summarize, authority, leverage, and exposure. Whether it's a sale, when you're making a sale, or you're getting financing, it'll work. These three will work in both those scenarios. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you soon.